remember we talked about it before, the way I want to be seen. And there's a mask that we wear so that we only present what we want to be seen, versus the mask is hiding what we don't want to be seen, because there's a fear behind that. And that fear is that we're not lovable, we're not worthy, like, again, the conversations and the layers and the layers. And it's not something that we can give in 5 minutes. But I think that the shortest and straightest way to get to yourself is to look straight into your own eyes. And then when you can hold that space for yourself with no judgment, with some compassion and some forgiveness and some kindness and some willingness to see the value and the love and the worth and all of these things, only then would we be able to actually gaze into and upon the eyes of another with the same high level of space and love.
And know, well, what you're saying is, no, I'm lovable. No, you're lovable. Just because we are, because there's, we sleep, we take care of ourselves. That's a form of love, of lovability. And so it's sort of the mind that's in the way of understanding ourselves, because we are already that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's, in a weird way, I certainly have never said this to you before. I feel like in a way we are complete. I feel like anything beyond this is the start of an expanded version, or, a different conversation or something.
We'll do more expanded versions of this, but in order to just sort of wrap it up and sum it up and give people that little piece of wisdom that they can start to take home and work on. Yes, look in the mirror, love yourself. Appreciate everything you are, and the joy of embodiment. But is there anything else that you want to just give?
Yeah, I mean, what I feel like saying when I hear your words is the way that you navigate your life. And remember, I'm talking about everything that presents in your life, all of the circumstances. And so I would call that like sifting through contrast, navigating the contrast of your life.
Wait, say that again. You would call it what? I missed.
Sifting through contrast.
Oh, okay.
There are things that you like, there are things that you don't like. You judge this good, you judge this bad, and it's all, your judgment is largely guided by who you taught you were and how you feel, by the way. And by the way, the word should. Now there's a conversation about the word should. That's a liberating conversation right there. So when you're gathering information about your point of attraction, the indication of what's active within you as evidenced by the manifestations in your life, and I know that that's like kind of a mouthful, but I think anyone can kind of sense the gist of what I'm saying. Then if you look at something that you like, you can consider that confirmation from the universe. And if you look at something that you don't like, rather than giving that your full attention, you might ask yourself a question. Okay, if I don't like that, what do I want? What do I want? Or if that, like, why is that okay with me? That's not okay with me. You've got to learn to hear your voice, trust your voice, tune into your feelings, love, yourself enough to care about how you feel and feel safe to express those feelings. And these are all ways to be more authentic in a higher version of yourself. So pay attention to how you feel. Care about how you feel.
And don't be afraid to express it. And don't be afraid to express how you feel.
Well, remember, connect to the truth and come from love and feel safe. So it doesn't mean be overly combative, argumentative. There are a lot of times you see people that go, oh no, I speak the truth. But it's a little bit like, what they mean by that is they're overly critical, condemning, judgmental.
That's not love. If they're coming from
so it might be the truth of the way that they feel, but it's not coming from love when they say. So that would be an indication of the imbalance of the energies. In fact, they're actually uncomfortable.
The truth from love, you're saying.
Yeah. Which means remaining vulnerable, even, okay, hear me now. Remaining vulnerable even when you want to put your shields up. Holy, schmoly. Takes some consciousness to be able to remain vulnerable, honest, and sincere, and come from love, and not put your shields up. That right there is scary for most people.
One more question. I know we're wrapping up here, and this is a whole other conversation, probably. But do you believe there's chakras above the body, 8 chakras, 9, 10,
Sure.
12.
Yeah, there are many chakras and many dimensions of being, right? And so, and many layers of our being, and levels of our transmission of being.
Of our
So
energy body. So that's a conversation I think we should have at some point.
excellent. Okay.
Well, thank you, Kim.